Today we're gonna be talking about how to install a wig, how to glue down a wig to where no one, and I mean no one, is gonna be able to tell you're wearing a wig.
Is that even possible?
Now, before we get started, if you're new here, my name is Jen and I share my experience with hair loss here on the internet. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can be friends, and go ahead and turn on that bell icon so you don't miss any videos. Now, today we're gonna be going over how to glue down a wig, how to install a wig, but there's a whole other side of wigs that don't require any glue. So guess what? Because I shop and I have so many types of wigs here at my house, we're gonna be going over both. I'm gonna be showing you, if you're new to wigs, how to install a wig, how to put it on, how to make sure it's in the right place so no one can tell you're wearing a wig, but we're also gonna be going over how to glue down a wig. If you're wanting to do that to make your lace more transparent, to make it look more realistic, we're gonna go over that as well. Now, if you're anything like me, when I was new to the world of wigs, I heard the word install and I was terrified. I was like, I wanna run the opposite way of that. That sounds really intimidating and I don't think I can learn to install a wig. I've seen the videos online to where they're like putting on the wig cap, they're gluing that down, they're like shaving the wig cap off, they're like adding more glue. It sounded exhausting, right? It sounded a little overwhelming and it sounded like something I really didn't want to have to do every day. That's why for me, as a beginner wig wearer, I opted to get a wig that had ear tabs. Now, you're gonna hear me mention ear tabs a lot in this video, so let's look at 3 different wigs so you can kind of understand what an ear tab is and kind of know a little bit before we go into it, whether you would want to get a wig that has ear tabs or want to get a wig without ear tabs. So when we're looking at ear tabs are going to be the metal stays on the side of your wig that give it more structure. And those metal stays have a really important job. They are going to be keeping that wig flush to your head to where it's not flapping in the wind. And I know it's crazy business that a little piece of metal can do that, but trust the process, it actually can. Now, this is an example of a little ear tab right here. It's got a tiny little piece of metal in it going this way, and I can fold that into my skin to make that wig flush against my head, and it stays there the entire time. We love that, we love that. Now, this is an example on a synthetic wig. You can also have ear tabs on a human hair wig. Now, this is an example of a tiny little baby ear tab right there, and you can see this one has some silicone on it as well. Now, this ear tab also has metal inside of it, and its job is to keep this lace flush against my skin without the use of glue, tape, or adhesives. But when we look at this wig right here, this wig has no structure in it. It has this section, which is all the wefting, but this has no structure. That is just the wefts, that's the stitching. There's no metal in that. There's no ear tab right here. It's got nothing to hold this flush against my skin, meaning this is a wig I would have to glue down unless you want your lace right here flapping in the wind, which I've been known to do that a few times. No shame there.
So proud.
So we're gonna be going over right now how you would put on a wig that has ear tabs that technically does not require any glue. So let's do that right here with my synthetic wig. Right now I have this turned inside out. Obviously, if you're putting on a wig, it's not gonna be inside out, or hopefully it's not going to be. So I'm gonna start by just brushing it out ever so nicely. Make sure I get all of those tangles. Now, when you're first putting a wig on for the first time, it can feel really scary. It's brand new. You may not know what you're doing if you're anything like me, and these videos are super duper helpful. So I'm gonna go step by step of how I put this wig on if you're new to it. So I start by holding my wig upside down like this. Now, there's many different ways you may see online for people to put on a wig. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. There's several different ways. It's whatever feels best to you. I find that this way is easiest, and so that's why I'm gonna be teaching it to you today. But we are going to be scooping our head into the wig itself. So you'll see right here, I have it upside down. This is where the nape of my neck is gonna end up, and this is gonna be where my eyebrows will end up. Now, I know that sounds really weird that I'm aiming for the lace right here to be near my eyebrows, because that's initially gonna be super duper low, but work with me, trust the process. It will look better, okay? So it's not gonna end up right there. We're gonna adjust it back. We'll scoot it back. It will look good, I promise. Don't go anywhere. Once I have this like this, I'm gonna scoop my head into it, and again, aim for the lace to be near my eyebrows. Okay, and I'm gonna drop that right there. I flip the hair over, and as promised, I'm like crazy. So what we're gonna do now that we're here is, remember we talked about those ear tabs. That's where you're gonna grab your wig, adjust it. If you have to do anything, this hair is so in my face. If you have to do anything, we're gonna do it with the ear tabs. You never wanna be tugging on the lace, which is right here. You always wanna adjust by the ear tabs. So I'm gonna be grabbing my little pinchers, my little lobster pinchers. Makes me think of the Friends episode, He's Your Lobster, with Phoebe.
Because she's your lobster.
Anyone else like Friends? I love it. So I'm gonna be grabbing right here by the side. I'm gonna slowly adjust up and back until I feel like I'm in the right spot. So I wanna be a little bit forward before my hairline. So I don't wanna take it all the way back yet, right to my hairline. I wanna be just before it. Now that I'm here, I can feel the back of my wig is not in the right spot. So again, take your little lobster pinchers and we're gonna grab those back section and pull the wig back down into place to where it's gonna rest at the beginning of my neck, or like the end of my head curve. Ta-da! Now that we're here, let's go ahead and comb our wig out. And I want you to do two things every single day before you wear your wig out for the day. I want you to adjust those ear tabs and make sure that those wires are curved into your head. And I want you to check to make sure that you have anywhere from 3 to 4 finger widths from your eyebrows to where your lace line starts. Now, for me, I can tell that this wig is a little bit forward, so I'm gonna actually adjust ever so slightly. Actually, no, it was actually in a really good spot. Okay, I'm not gonna adjust it, but if you need to, pull it back this way. But let's say I did this and I got it too far back. Let's just kind of pretend right there for a second. So you can see, obviously, that's very obvious, it's a wig. You can see my hairline.
Yeah. A bit.
So if you do get your wig too far back, go ahead and take your little lobster pinchers, grab your ear tabs, boop, and pull it back down into place. You can just kind of like shimmy it. So that next thing I'm gonna do, remember I had 2 things I want you to do before you leave the house. So check that it's in the right place with your fingers, but then also you're gonna take those ear tabs, and remember they have wire in them. I like to curve them into my head to where they make a nice C shape, and then I flatten them back out. So the reason I do that is because that's gonna curve those ear tabs to the side of my head. If I didn't do those, ever so often, because they have wire in them, they could get like this, which is where they're like swooping out, and nobody wants that. It doesn't look, it doesn't look natural. So take that, curve it back into your head, and as you can see, that makes it look a lot more natural. Now, for most all synthetic wigs, I've actually never heard of a synthetic wig that you glue down. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are some. I just haven't experienced them or worn them myself. But most all synthetic wigs are gonna be throw on and go like this. They're gonna be very beginner friendly. They're gonna have those ear tabs that we love, and you're gonna be able to just throw it on your head, check those 2 things, and then head out the door. So this wig should be nice and secure. It's not gonna go anywhere except for sticking my lip gloss, which is so nice of it. Woo! Okay, so now that we've learned how to put on a wig, let's move on over into human hair wigs, where we do have some wigs that we may need to glue down. So let's first talk about the 2 main types of human hair wigs that you're gonna encounter out in the wild. So we have our human hair wigs that are gonna have our lovely ear tabs in them. Now, they're all gonna look different. They're not all gonna be this tiny and this small. This happens to be a wig design that has pretty tiny ear tabs. And the reason for that is to make it really sleek and really flush if I were to pull this wig up into a ponytail. But because this ear tab is so small, it doesn't have as much security or as much structure in the wig cap itself as, say, a different wig that maybe has larger ear tabs. So just kind of keep that in mind whenever you're shopping for a wig. This one is still gonna keep that lace flush against my skin. This wig can still be worn without glue. It can still be worn without tape, and it stays on, it stays secure. But if I wanted to, I could glue down this lace right here.
That's very useful information.
Now let's talk about the other type of wig that you might encounter out in the wild when you're wearing wigs or when you're wig shopping. And that is a full lace wig. Now, if you're a very experienced wig wearer, you're probably looking at this and you're like, Jen, that's not a full lace wig. I know it's not, but use your imagination, okay? I actually didn't have a full lace wig. This one has wefting on it, but for sake of imagination, this one doesn't have ear tabs. So like, that's what we're going with, okay? So this wig does not have ear tabs as opposed to this wig, which does. So you can kind of see the difference of those right here. Now, if a wig does not have ear tabs, it always, always, always is gonna need some sort of tape, glue, adhesive, thoughts and prayers to keep it sandwiched to your head. It doesn't have any structure in it. This right here, although it may look deceiving, has no wire, it has no structure in it. And so it's not gonna keep it molded to my head. If I were to put this wig on by itself without any glue or tape, let's comb her out because she's looking a little disheveled, and say a swift breeze came up. Look, it's breezy. See what I did there? See? My sides flap up because I gotta glue them down. Okay, but if I were to have a wig that had ear tabs in it or that had wire, it would keep that sandwiched to my head. So just kind of so that way you know the two types of wigs. Now, if you remember earlier, I mentioned that this wig right here, even though it has ear tabs, you technically could glue it down. So let's talk real quick why you would want to glue a wig down, especially on a wig like this, which is technically glueless because it has those ear tabs in it. Now, my sweet friend Saran, who owns Silk or Lace, explained it to me this way, so I cannot take credit for this. This was totally her, but it made a lot of logical sense for me, so hopefully it makes sense for you too. She told me, imagine you have two pieces of white paper, and each of those pieces of paper will represent your skin and then your lace. So we have one piece of white paper, and I'm just gonna stack that other piece of white paper right on top, but scoot it back a little bit. Oh my gosh, I have a hair. So imagine I have my piece of paper, and then I have a second piece of white paper, and I'm going to put it on top and scoot that second piece of white paper back a little bit. Now, if I have my paper like this, but I don't put any glue between it, you can always tell that they're gonna be two pieces of paper because there's gonna be a little bit of air between it. There's gonna be a little bit of movement. But if I took a glue stick and I glued between the two pieces of paper, sandwiched them together really good, it's gonna then look less noticeable that it's two pieces of paper, and it's gonna look more realistic. She says we can think about that like our laces with our skin. If we glue that lace down to our skin, there's gonna be no air between it, there's gonna be no movement, no ability for it to move or wiggle, and it's gonna look even more realistic, more transparent. Now, before you glue your wig down, I want you to make sure that the lace on your wig is clean. A lot of women struggle with cleaning it regularly, and by a lot, I mean me. And so cleaning your wig's lace regularly is gonna make sure that it stays clean and that it stays looking transparent. Nothing is more of a dead giveaway for a wig than when your lace starts to get discolored and it starts to get a little bit orange. Now, if you're new to wearing wigs, I did drop a video of how you clean your lace, and so go make sure that you check that out. But for today, let's go over just how to glue down your wig. Now, when I first was new to wigs and the idea of gluing them down seemed really, really overwhelming, I was scrolling social media and I saw on there that there was a wig cap someone glued on, and then they shaved the wig cap, and then they put the hair on, and then they glued it, and rubber band. Oh my gosh, it was so much, right? And I was a little intimidated by it, not gonna lie. I wanted to run in the complete opposite direction of glue. And so I've tried my best to make this process really user-friendly. It should hopefully not be intimidating to you. We're using a very beginner-friendly glue today, and the process for gluing the wig on is gonna be really easy as well. So, some supplies that I want you to grab. I want you to get yourself a rat tail comb like this. Mine came with my wig, which is so nice. We're gonna grab our glue. I'm using today Bold Hold Liquid Gold. It's by the Hair Diagram. I got it off of Amazon. This is a great water-based glue. That means it's gonna come off with water. It's not gonna be damaging to our lace, but yet it's gonna hold really, really well. I will add a small disclaimer. I have been told by several of you guys that this glue does not hold through sweat. So if you are a sweaty girly or you're going to the gym, don't use this glue, or your wig may slip. I don't know. But it has held through everything else I've ever thrown at it. And it's held for me just fine in the heat in the summer. So take that with a grain of salt. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting our wig on. And remember, I'm gonna hold it upside down like this, scoop my head into it, and then adjust my wig back into place. And I wanna make sure I have anywhere from 3 to 4 finger widths from where my hairline starts to my eyebrows. So once you have your wig in place, you're gonna take your rat tail comb, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply some glue to a surface. I'm using my makeup compact because that's what I have available. But you're gonna apply a little dime size amount of glue, and we're gonna roll our rat tail comb into it, maybe about 1/2 inch, not very far. And we're gonna take that rat tail comb and we're going to slide it up underneath our lace ever so gentle. When we're gluing our wig down, we're gonna be taking our rat tail comb, and I'm only gonna be putting it up to about right there. So don't be pressing it super far back back, but just enough to where it's gonna be gluing your wig down. Let's go ahead and put some glue on here. You need about, I don't know, maybe a dime size amount, maybe even less than that. Whenever you're gluing down your wig, less is definitely more. If you get too much glue, it's gonna be a goopy, gross mess, and it's gonna be really, really hard to work with. So truly, less is more. So this is what I'm starting out with glue-wise. It's really not that much at all. It's a small little amount of glue, and I'm gonna start by gluing this top section right here. Again, I'm gonna move that up underneath the lace, and I'm moving it back and forth underneath the lace, and then I'm gonna press the lace into my skin with the back side of the comb. If you have any baby hairs, you can pull those out of the way as well. I'm gonna get a little bit more glue. Remember, you don't want too much.
Just a little bit.
I'm gonna scoot this up underneath my lace and do the other top part of my wig. I kind of will divide my wig into 4 imaginary sections when I'm gluing it down. So this is a section, and then each side section. And I just work in bits and pieces until I feel like it is appropriately glued down. All right, let me press that in real good. Okay, so the next part is, I find, the trickiest part whenever you're gluing down a wig, and that's gonna be to glue the sides down. You need to apply a little bit of tension. Let me grab this glue. Woo. It's kind of fun. You need to apply a little bit of tension to the bottom of that lace to keep it taut against the skin whenever we're going to be applying the lace or applying the glue. Okay, so I'm gonna put that underneath there, and I'm rotating it back and forth, and then I'm gonna take my comb and press that into the glue and the lace. I think I need some more glue. That was not enough. Then again, I'm just gonna press that into there. All right, and this is a good example of why less is more. So I applied more glue because I needed it, but I got too much glue. Your little baby hairs can start to get soaked in your glue, and then they get a little bit crunchy. Have no fear, pull them out with your comb and it will stay. Okay, next we're going to do our other side. Grab our glue, and I'm gonna hold that side and work that up and down where my lace is, and then press in that lace into my skin to where it's all nice and melted together. All nice and married. Ah, that looks so good, oh my goodness. If you have any parts on your lace that are fraying or just need a little extra glue, you can grab the tiniest little dot and just apply a little bit of glue on there and sandwich it down again with the back of your comb, and that should keep it looking good. All right, so now that we have it all glued, our last step is going to be applying some heat. I just use a blow dryer on like a medium setting, and that's really going to dry this glue, lock it into place, sandwich it down to where it's not moving until we want it to. And this is not the final look. Wouldn't that be crazy though if I left my hair like that? It'd be a little nutty. And now my wig is all glued down. It's not gonna go anywhere, and it will stay all day through just about anything I throw its way. I have sweated in this glue. I've gone out in the summertime, it's been fine. I will say this glue is not waterproof, so keep that in mind. If you are someone who, I don't know, swims in your wig, that might be a weird thing to do. Maybe people do that. I personally don't. If you're someone who swims in your wig, not gonna be the glue for you. If you're someone who is excessively sweating all the time, also not gonna be the glue for you. But for everyday wear, it's a really great beginner-friendly glue to glue your wigs down. So now that wig is completely glued down, it looks super realistic, and my lace is glued down to my skin, and it's like married, and it looks so beautiful together. So now that we have our wig glued down, we obviously need to talk about how do you get your glue off? How do you remove your wig? Because if we just ripped this right now, it would more than likely rip your lace, which is this nice, lovely, transparent material. Ta-da! That gives you a really beautiful hairline. And we don't want to do that. It's really delicate, and you don't want to be tugging or ripping or pulling or like forcing it off your head because that lace is gonna rip. So remember when I said that this glue was water-based? Yay! We love a water-based glue because it's really easy to remove. Now, little disclaimer on this glue, I have had some people tell me that they're big sweaters, that they're sweating a lot, and that this glue did not hold through the sweat. So like, keep that in mind. I don't want you having a wig mishap at the gym or anything if you are a big sweater. But Grab your washcloth. You want to soak it with water, and all I'm gonna do is press this washcloth into my skin, and it just dissolves that glue. Now, one thing I want you to remember, if we're gluing our wig down, if we're wearing our wig regularly, one of the biggest, most important things to do is to make sure that your lace is clean. So you can do that with any sort of gentle cleanser. You can do it at the end of the day after you wear it, and just gently cleanse that lace, and that's gonna keep it very transparent to where it looks hyper realistic. It looks super realistic. The dead giveaway for a wig is some tinted lace. It doesn't matter how good your wig install is, if your lace is tinted, if it's dirty, it's gonna be a dead giveaway that it's a wig, especially when it comes to HD lace. All right, once I've kind of soaked it a little bit, I'll take my finger, and this should naturally just lift like that. I didn't have to do any tugging. I didn't have to pull on it whatsoever. But this side is still completely glued down. So let's dissolve that glue. And now, ta-da! I took my wig off. So nice. Now, one thing you may notice if you glue your wig down regularly is that you have like little glue marks on there. You can just use water, it dissolves it. Like I said, this is a really good water-based glue. I just like to gently press in between that, and it should dissolve that glue right off. Occasionally I'll have to run it under some water, but usually pressing it like this will dissolve that glue and make it to where it's not a problem anymore. I don't have any of that residue. And then sometimes you have a little bit on your head as well that you have to wipe off. But again, if you get a nice water-based glue, like, not that big a deal. Well, thank you for learning to install a wig with me. I hope this video was helpful. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that follow button so we can be friends, and turn on that little bell icon so you don't miss any videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.